All right, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Hope you guys are having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Just want to do a quick sound check in the room. All right, good morning. All right, good morning, folks. All right, excellent. Let's get started, guys. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Welcome to the pre-market show on this beautiful Thursday, last day of the month. Yes, it is 31st, so last day of the month here. Let's end the month really good today, and let's continue this week really strong. So let's get into it, guys. Here is what we had yesterday. Here is our watch list. These were some two possibles, and actually COF traded very well. I saw some good trades from a lot of traders on this one, but this was my watch list here, and we had some good activity. Good morning, Norm. How you doing this morning?
Hey, good morning. Sorry I had to refresh the room. I had a little tech issue there.
Yeah, I had to refresh as well, but it looks like it's all good to go. I think the problem with me is my mic. My mic sometimes when it disconnects, I gotta refresh or can engage in the room again. So I gotta just check that out. All right, guys. So here we have, um, yes, James Kim. We do broadcast every morning, every trading morning. All right, so let's get into it, guys. Here's our watches from yesterday. Here's our gappers list, looking pretty good. I was messing around earlier. We're probably gonna work on something here. I was messing around with possibly another gappers list, one that will work on not much volume, but anything that's gapping up quite a bit. So this could be interesting. Not finalized yet. I'm playing around with this, and hopefully we can have another list here on days that we don't have quite a bit here. We can hopefully look in here and get some opportunities, but it's way too much right now. We'll come back to this maybe by the end of the week or starting next week. We'll have something there that we can look at. Let's start with PG yesterday. PG very, very active, popping, gapping up quite a bit. It was really popping up a few points here yesterday on some earnings. This is how it traded. I did not trade PG. Again, it was just very wild. They had this open here. I believe it sold down, then came right back up, and then the next candle completely engulfs the one before it. Let me show you the 1 minute on how that looks. A little cleaner on the 1 minute, but the 5. I usually like to wait for a good clean 5 minute chart. You can see here just not too clean. On the 5 is a little cleaner, but again, I'm sorry, on the 1 is a little cleaner, but on the 5 is just really nothing tradable there with this engulfing crack. Could be a potentially fake out. You want to get in here for sure. Hopefully for the low of the day or these levels we had here, 1868, which I believe was the low of the pre-market, and you can see how that plays out. It just doesn't really go. So that was PG yesterday. PFE was one that was very active, traded very well, had this first almost indecision candle, right? Look at the wicks all the way up here, all the way down here. And then it settles in, looks like it's going to break out. It does not, and then becomes a beautiful short towards the bottom, heading towards the low of the day. And you can see here, if you had a good entry, you could have survived this possible pullback here, or you had another re-entry once you saw that it didn't hold on the VWAP. All right, try to get above VWAP, couldn't hold there, and then just became a beautiful short, settling down nicely. And we talk about these trend trades, right? They go down, they test a level, they come right back up to the VWAP. And if you had a good entry here, you would have survived this as well. Maybe a good indication to add once you see that it cannot stay above the VWAP and hold, and becomes again another great short all the way down towards the low of the day, this time hitting it right on the head. So that was PFE, very active, very clean. One thing about PFE though, because I did trade PFE, I got stopped out actually twice here for a short, and then here as well, and then I just stopped trading it. The price action was very wild. I mean, the movements on this were all over the place. It was very tough to hold through a pullback. You had to get in and then had to immediately drop to give you a cushion. If not, your stop would have been hit the way this thing was trading on every candle. UAA, on the other hand, this one was very nice. You can see here a nice drop right at the open. If you waited for the 5 minutes, you had a beautiful engulfing candle here of the previous candle. Nice drop towards the bottom, losing the 22.45 level we had and heading almost to at 21, but hits at 22. and then becomes a beautiful VWAP reversal. We teach this in our class 4. VWAP reversal comes down, finds the bottom. The next 5 minutes cannot do a new low, and you can see here the squeeze all the way back up to VWAP, and then from there it just takes off. And a lot of traders took this. Norm, I think you took a trade on this later in the afternoon as well. If I'm not
on UAA, yeah. As I did a recap, but it was messed up, so I didn't get a chance to post it. But I love that midday setup. So it sold off so hard, came back up and punched through VWAP, held above VWAP, held the moving averages, and I took it right about that 11:05 candle. That one doji right there, where it came back and tested, went through the 50, tested it, and closed above it.
All right, here.
That one that you're, right there, and then took that right up to 24.30ish. So I got in at 23.78, now at 24.30, which is a decent run for a $23 stock in the middle of the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was trading so clean. You can see just a lot of patterns on here. You got the VWAP reversal happening. It just punches right through VWAP, comes back, consolidates. You could have taken this here as well, and then gives you almost an ABCD pattern here. Right where you got in is a C point, right? That's support. If it breaks that, then you don't want to try this anymore. But clearly, a great entry here for a pop, breaking the high of the day, hitting these levels up here as well. So again, just a very clean trade on UAA. SSNC was one that was opened up pretty strong on the short side. Actually, just kind of sold off nicely here, but a beautiful pullback back to VWAP. This is what I like to see on the open range breakdown. That pullback on either one of those. If I was not messing around with PFE yesterday, this would have been one that I would have taken right around here, because I just love this setup. You can see here, it doesn't run much, but again, it gives you a nice opportunity to at least get one partial out and maybe the rest out at on the way up once you see it cannot make a new low. Then after this, guys, a beautiful double bottom. I got an email yesterday about double bottoms and double tops. One thing that I like about these, I like to look for these strategies in the 5 or the 15 minute. The 1 minute can fake you out a lot, so be careful. Trying to find a double top on the 1 minute chart. Look for it on a bigger time frame. A 5 minute, 15 minute is a lot stronger. So look at this here. Comes down, sets the base at 47, tests the VWAP, comes back down, can almost right to 47, cannot make a new low, and this is your entry around here. You want to wait for that next candle to actually close green. This is your entry anywhere around here. Set your stop loss slightly below the last low, because obviously come back and test this again. And this is where you just let it ride out, right? You want to get through VWAP and hopefully to these moving averages up here. And just look at this, right? You don't expect this type of move, but this is just incredible. Goes all the way towards the high of the day. Again, just becomes a beautiful trade. Another opportunity here as well. Once it establishes above the VWAP and all these moving averages, you got a nice little entry here as well. Signals of a lot of buying pressure coming in, and there it goes. Boom! It just takes off one more time. So again, a lot of opportunities on SSNC for a short, double bottom for a long, and continuation play here as well. MDR was one that it got a lot of great volume at the open, but then it did nothing much after that. It's just very choppy, not really clean. The volume died down, so it was not one that I was too interested in. OSTK, this is one where I had a lot of fear of missing out. I called this here for a possible reversal, as it was making higher highs, higher lows here, but I did not take it. You can see here it took off nicely. You just can't trust this stock too much. It's one of those stocks that moves almost like a low float. The price action could be very whippy. So I did not pull the trigger on that one. Now I want to mention COF because I did not have this on my main watch list, but a lot of traders took opportunities on this one yesterday. You can see here just kind of a little choppy in this area. Doesn't know what it wants to do, but once it comes back towards the low of the day, right? Remember the opening range breakup, you can play up to an hour, right? So 30 minutes in, loses the low of the day at that point, and then you can see the beautiful drop all the way down to this level we had 89, 80, 89. Hesitates a little bit here, heads down even a little lower, and then comes right back up. So again, just a beautiful short here in the open range breakdown. If you were patient and saw this coming, it's kind of losing the low of the day there. MRK, I didn't watch really how this one traded. I know a lot of people were calling it out, but for me, this price action here was very, very choppy. Again, it's just not really a good setup here happening on MRK. All right, guys, so that is what we have yesterday. Let's look at some news. Norm, what do we have going on today? Any notable earnings or for the rest of the week?
Nah, nothing at all going on today. Big joke. Let's see here. So we'll see what the market's like this morning. I know we've got a decent gappers list we'll be going through in a minute, but the Fed is going to announce their rate decision from their meeting over the past 2 days at 2 p.m. Eastern. followed by a Jerome Powell press conference at 2:30. So that will always be interesting. I'm always very cautious around those announcements. You have no idea what is going to happen and what the reaction of the market will be. So I try to get out of all my positions before. Well, I 99% of the time I'm out of everything before that comes close to that announcement, because the market will probably go haywire. That also, and it could go one way and then go the exact opposite once he starts talking. He's been known to do that to the market. So I'll be very cautious this afternoon because of that. Anyway, other news, we had the ADP employment report came out this morning about 30 minutes ago. It was essentially in line with expectations, a little bit stronger than last month's week number and just a tiny bit above the private employment number that was expected. So then so the market's pretty quiet right now. I mean, we're up a little over 0.1% on the SPY. We got a number of earnings that came out last night. Almost 300 companies are reporting today, and over 300 tomorrow. So we've got a busy few days here. Couple of BBT specific news items. So today in the classroom at noon Eastern, we'll have our Workshop Wednesday series. Eamon will be talking about how to prevent over trading. The Phoenix meetup will be August 2nd, this Friday. There are links to both on Facebook and the forum to RSVP for that. Let's see here. Sorry, my notes are a little bit messed up here. That is about all I have. Oh, ABL, also, Bear Bull Traders was nominated for Benzinga FinTech Award. So if ABL would post the links for that, you can vote once per day per device. And the link is there. If you'd also post it in YouTube, that'd be awesome, ABL. So we'd appreciate every vote we can get there. And that is all I have this morning, other than, once again, we really appreciate keeping the main chat in the chat room on topic about trading or setups, anything about brokers or platforms or technical questions in the off topic, please, just to try to keep this clean. And if you're watching on YouTube and you have not traded with us live in the chat room before, you can use the promo code PREMARKET24, no spaces or hyphens or anything, PREMARKET24, and get a discount for a 1-week trial that does not renew for the chat room.
All right, excellent, guys. So let's get into it. Let's see what we have today. We have quite an interesting list here. This one down 36%. Let's start with that one. That one's definitely catching our attention. So let's start with TWOU. So TWOU down 36% this morning. I'm going to try a little something different today. I'm going to keep the 5-minute up here, and I'm going to keep the daily chart here. This way we're not flipping back and forth and driving our newer traders are joining us crazy, because that would drive me crazy if I was first starting out. Just too much information to take all at once. And the point of this pre-market show, guys, is for our new traders, right, to kind of get into understanding some of the stuff we're doing, how we find the watch list. So me and Norm always welcome any ideas and suggestions. Send it to us, norm@bearbulltraders.com or carlos@bearbulltraders.com. And if it's something we can implement, we will surely do that. So TWOU here is down 36%, 247,000 shares traded so far. I like the daily. The 5-minute looking okay. You got some good volume starting from here, so hopefully that can continue. Again, the daily has a beautiful drop, leaving all these levels here around 34. So this is worth taking a look at. The float on this one is showing on Trade Ideas 57.3 million. So that's quite all right for us to trade. Definitely one that we can take a look at today and see how this develops. Norm, this is down huge and was down again in May, another big drop. What's the news on this? Is it earnings here and here as well?
Yeah, they reported earnings last night, and their loss was a lot worse than expected and accelerated year over year as well. So That's what's killing them.
All right, so we will definitely watch this one today. Again, just another big drop on for these guys, down 36%. Definitely worth taking a look at. As we continue from the bottom, AMD is up here. Wow, AMD's down 3.9. All right, so you can see it's right back on the daily to this level of support we have here, right? So it's right on the money. That's a level we had on here, 32.45. You can see that right on here on the 5-minute. So yeah, this is interesting. As we know, AMD is going to get the volume today. It has amazing volume. 2.2 million shares traded so far. Pre-market activity looking very active, as you can see here. Got a nice flow going on AMD. So this is definitely in play today. Our buddy down quite a bit, 4% this morning. The AMD report, or are we just getting some technical trading?
They reported earnings last night, and earnings and such weren't too crazy on their own, but their guidance was horrendous compared to what was expected. Some people think it might be they're just being very conservative, and then they'll blow out maybe next quarter or the second half of the year. And analysts, frankly, are all over the place. Upgrades, downgrades, price increases, price target reductions. So it'll be interesting for AMD today for sure.
Yeah, it sure is. I mean, this volume is just crazy right now. 2.2 million shares traded. And as we know, guys, when you get this type of volume at the open, just let the stock settle in. Let's see what it's going to do, because I expect it's going to be wild today as soon as this thing opens up. SP OT spot down 3.7, 179,000 shares traded so far. Daily looks good. You have a nice little flow here in the daily chart, so I like the way the daily is setting up. Losing these two moving averages on the 5, the pre-market activities, okay, not great as AMD looks. So it's all right on there. If it can get more volume, hopefully we can get a better flow on here. Now, let's keep in mind this is a NYSE stock, and NYSE stocks tend to not have the best pre-market activity, but can still put in an amazing open once the volume comes in. So we'll take a look on spot. We got some levels we can mark down here very clearly going back to June and July. That's a nice level there, and also here as well. So we'll get back into spot in a second. Next we have AU coming up here in our gappers list. AU is down 6.2, 101,000 shares traded so far. So it's just making our list here. Go ahead.
That's a gold. That's a gold stock.
Oh, so it's just following whatever.
Usually, yeah, it can be very unfriendly or useless to trade. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, this is one that you want to wait for Brian to give you his expertise, because he watches that quite often. I don't.
I will say, and this will react heavily too based on the Fed announcement.
Yeah. So you can see here there's some movement happening now. Again, down quite a bit, 6.6. So I'm gonna put this on the side. When Brian comes on later, we can ask him his thoughts on it. He can give us some kind of feedback on what's going on there. Because again, he's great at this stuff and he keeps track of it. You know, that's the guy you wanna listen to on this. Gonna remove these levels because it looks like we have some newer levels on here, so we can come back to that. All right, next on here we have
Carlos. Yep. Part of the reason I hopped in a second ago, I wanted to go back to Spotify real quick.
Yep.
If you go back to Spot, David brings up a really good point. Watch for the spread on that stock because it can often be as high as $1. It looks right now like it's only about 40 cents, but you have no idea if there's even 100 shares for sale on the ask at 149.60. Mm-hmm. So in essence, you're really looking up there. See, now you're 149.02 to 149.89. You're talking about almost a 90-cent spread on that.
Yeah, and here again as well, good call out on Norm on this and David. I mean,
so that could be one share, and if you put in an order for 100 or 500, you're going to get filled all the way down the list.
You'll get dropped all the way down here. Yeah, good call out on that. Absolutely. So definitely look out for that, guys. That's something that I always try to remember and work on, looking at the spread, right? Sometimes we forget to look at that. We look at the time in sales, the patterns on the chart, and level 2, and we forget to focus in on what is the actual spread. And this is why, again, when you first start out, it's so much information you're getting all at once. This is why starting out, small until you get used to all this information that's being, provided to you. Is very, very useful. So definitely look on the spread here. Not looking too great on this spot.
After I set everything up, I'm just talking about personally what I do. the first thing I look at when I pull a stock up is to see what its spread is looking like before I dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm about to make a trade to decide if I even want to touch it. If I see a spread like that, I'm not even going to look at it again.
Yeah, it's not worth. I mean, being down right now 40 cents on your entry, it's tough, very tough, very tough. And guys, if you want to learn more about the spread and how we look at this level 2, class 3, I believe class 3 has a lot of information on there. So go to the education center, check out class 3 to get a refresher on the price action and level 2. All right, so next on our list here we got AMRN. This one is up 3.3, 309,000 shares traded so far. Now AMRN is in a very interesting situation, right? We had a couple of days with some nasty consolidation here, not really moving much, and now we're gapping up quite a bit. Seems like we have lost most of it, went as high as 20, then just kind of dropped down here. So could be interesting, but this one, if it's not really in play, it trades horrible, right? So look at this pre-market activity now on the 5 minute. Again, just not clean at all. Most of the volume, oh, not most of it, almost a third of it, right, is sitting on this one candle here, 125. So again, not really a clean pre-market activity. I don't have shares for short on it. And again, the several days we looked at it around here, it just didn't trade very clean. So be very careful with this one. We'll keep it on here, see if it can get a little better and surprise us. But at the moment, not looking too exciting. Let's take a look at Apple, one of Norm's top 4 here this morning. Again, yesterday, this was insane. Let's zoom into yesterday and what it did here. If you missed it and fell asleep early, don't worry, we got you. Here it is, yesterday after the close. Look at this insane pop here. What's that, $10 Norm or so?
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. We were texting about it last night. I said I had $10 worth of FOMO not trading the aftermarket yesterday. So they released earnings, and they were better than expected. But, you know, I got to say, I'm surprised it ran quite as much as it did. Second quarter was the first time since 2012 that they didn't generate more than half their revenue from iPhone. And actually wearables, watch, and AirPods are what supported this thing. So that, and you know, they made some comments about China not being quite as weak as they had anticipated and such. So that's what's popped it. I'll be watching this one closely today.
Yeah, it's funny. If you just go back and just to add to that, if you look at the daily chart on Apple, I mean, the swings are insane. You know, and you have some drawdowns, but look at this drop all the way down to here on December, comes right back up, another huge drop in June, and then right back up here. So the swings have been pretty nice on Apple today. They're I think, is this 52-week high? No, it's not. So in November they were a lot higher. So, but we are close to this last area, the most recent area that we have popped up all the way up here. So that's interesting as well to keep an eye on. So Apple definitely in play this morning. It's got a beautiful pre-market activity, guys. Let's not get cleaner than this. Look at this nice drop and pop here. So again, just very nice on Apple with a lot of volume, up 3.8. Definitely worth putting on your list this morning. Last one on the Gappers list is ENPH. ENPH is up 22%. Has a nice daily here, as you can see. Beautiful pre-market activity at the moment. With some good volume. The float on this one is 98. It's the ATR seems pretty high right now. This thing is moving quite a bit, going from 24.50 all the way up to 26. So you want to be careful with that. ATR is 92 cents usually on this, but today is really active with some good decent volume. So any news on why this is gapping up so much this morning? 23%.
Yeah, they reported earnings and beat estimates last night.
All right, so looking very good. Again, it was already on a beautiful, nice uptrend, so people are liking the way this stock is moving. And then today, a beautiful pop here on this ENPH.
And their short interest, the amount of shares that are percentage that's held short, is around 15%, which isn't huge. I mean, you can see Beyond Meat, that's like 50% or so. Tesla's in the 30s, 40s at times. So that'll also, it'll cause a bit of a short squeeze too, potentially, when they come out with good earnings and beat like that.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So that's ENPA. So we have quite a bit of a nice group here, guys. Let's look at some of the stuff you guys are watching and what you guys like this morning. Let's look at Norm. Besides the Apple, any other ones you like from your top four?
Yeah, I'm going to have a close eye on NVIDIA today. NVIDIA, the AMD, like I said, reported last night. And part of the big push of what's moved them back from the teens into the 30s is their GPU unit and advances they're making in that. So it's direct competition to NVIDIA. I want to see if it has any impact on what happens over there. I'm not seeing anything right now, but that's not uncommon. I'll keep an eye on it later today.
All right, excellent. So NVIDIA is one to watch for. I see a lot of people mentioning GE. What's going on with GE today? So GE is gapping up 2.8. Do we have any news on GE this morning?
Yeah, GE reported earnings. Their troubles are well documented. It generally doesn't move much, even though that's a massive candle. It's only moving 20, 30, 40 cents. It's just not something I really watch. GE's kind of tough to trade in my mind and doesn't move well enough for me to be interested in it.
Yeah, that's one of those very, very hard stocks to trade because just the movement is not there, and you gotta. It's good for trend trade if you do a lot of trend trading, and it's really in play. You can catch a good move out of it, but it's really, really tough to trade. But it's definitely active this morning, guys. Look at this beautiful pre-market activity. As you can see here, it's just trending nicely on the 5, and then again up quite a bit here, beating this, surpassing this resistance we've been having over the last couple of days, right? A couple of months, right? At around 1060, 1070 range. So it just popped up above that. So that could be interesting. See if it can establish something above that and keep going higher. You have some very clean levels over here when it did this huge gap. I remember this day. I think we shorted it on this day. This was probably one of the times that we traded GE and we shorted it. And I think that same day was when I had my nice win on BPTH. I remember that. So this is very interesting here, guys. Let's keep it on here. Worth watching this morning. The reason why this is not coming up on this gappers list is because the ATR is so small. I mean, let's just look at it. It just got to be over probably like 30 cents or so. 25 cents on the ATR, so it doesn't hit our scanners because of that. But definitely in play today with some crazy volume, 11 million shares, which is typical for GE. GE is one of those stocks that can trade, 10, 15 million shares before the open. And still not move, not much. Again, look at this. We're going from the highest 11.17 and the lowest 10.21. So just a little bit under $1 or so there. All right. What else we got, guys? So we have MU. Let's see what.
Are you going to do your active and gainers this morning?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to go through active and gainers?
I should go through that. I'm excited to trade already. I forgot about this. Let's look at NASDAQ active, NASDAQ gainers. SLS is this one actually. It's a penny stock. We don't trade that. AMD we have. Apple we have. ANPH we have. TWOU we have. All right, we're starting good so far. SSRM. Okay, what we got here? So we got 379,000 shares traded. Not much activity. Huge block trade here, guys. So if you have not seen a block trade, this is what one looks like. This should be here in the time and sales. Yep, right here. Time and sales got that huge block trade, causing it to pop up in the active, but nothing really happening. Daily looks interesting, right? So daily looks nice, but again, right now for us, this doesn't look good. AMRN we have down there as well. UPL penny stock, we'll skip that. WKHS, this one's always coming up, and we have looked at it before. Today we have 323,000 shares traded. It is up 8.2, so that's nice. Pre-market activity, it's okay. It's all right. The issue with this stock, the few times we looked at it to trade, the daily looks amazing, by the way, right? It's a great daily chart on a beautiful uptrend, but it doesn't trade very well. All right, if you look at the intraday here, it doesn't trade very well. So this is why I tend not to keep it on my list. Today it looks like it's popping up a bit, but again, it's one of those stocks that I'd rather not watch. Usually stocks that have a higher, a low price like this usually tend to not trade as clean. And I don't think this is a low flow. I believe this is a higher flow as well. Yeah, it's a 61 million shares flow. Yeah, so there's something, and Andrew talks about this as well. There's something about these mid-flow stocks that are lower priced. That's just something about them that don't trade very clean. They're tradable. You can manage your risk, but something about it when they're mid-flow, large flow stocks and they're this price, the action is not great. NAKD also penny stock. We'll skip that one. NASDAQ gainers, EMPH we have. LSCC, what do we have here? So not much volume, guys. Only 7,000 shares traded. Let's go over down to AVGR. AVGR, no volume. Gevo coming up here, GEVO. Something just sparked it right now, what made it pop into here, but not much activity happening at the moment. Let's keep an eye on this one. The day looks interesting. If we can get some volume out of here, this could be one that it can possibly be in play for today. Next, DMPI, no volume. OSS, nothing going on. BGFV, nothing happening. And GRMM has an interesting pop here, 6.6. But again, the volume is not there. It could start to build, but right now at the moment, it's just not looking too great. It looks like we have looked at this one in the past because I do have some levels down here. But again, just not much going on at the moment. If we can get some volume, it could be interesting because we do have a nice level here that we're kind of trying to reach, right? This is a huge level of resistance. This is Garmin, so again, very well known company. I'm assuming it's earnings on Garmin today, right? It's got to be after this huge.
I have not looked at Garmin just because there's not enough activity on it.
Yeah, don't blame you.
So.
Yep. Well, I'm just gonna throw it on here, Garmin, for now, just in case it can get going.
Yeah, they reported this morning. And another one too, and Kyle pointed it out. I saw this one earlier. EA looks interesting today. That's one other I got that I'll keep an eye on. It's been pretty range bound. It's not the easiest thing to trade, but they reported.
EA, correct?
Yep, that's it right there.
Yep.
Not a ton of volume, but we'll see what happens later. It'll be on my side list.
All right, so we got a nice side. For those that have not seen this before, we have a side list here we usually keep of some possible ones. So we'll go through this one in details and see which main list we're going to keep. And there's some possibles on here. And this is a gold stock here that we want Brian's input on. And then usually down here, I will have my low flow stocks. Our community does not usually focus on low flow, but if there's something really good that looks really exciting, you know, we might put it on here as a possible. And it might be something that if we do trade it, you know, I'm trading it with like literally 150 shares because I'm not giving my profits back that I make on large to mid floor stocks, right? You got to trade consistent to, you know, to stay consistent. You got to trade consistent, right? And that's something that we teach. We don't want you to be trading these mid flow stocks doing great, and then you come and mess around with this low flow and you give, you know, a week or two back of profits, right? So this is something that's very, very important. A lot of new beginning traders fall into this because, again, guys, it's very attractive to, you know, look at Twitter, look at StockWiz and see someone that made, you know, 10, 15, 20 grand trading a low float stock. But how about the losers? Where are the losers when you get caught in a squeeze or a drop on this? So, all right, getting a little bit out of topic here, but this is very important stuff that we want you guys to be aware of. All right, so let's go through this list, guys. We got quite a bit. I think I have everyone's list here. Let's do two more. We have BG here. So BG, not much activity right now, but I see what you're looking at. It's gapping up 2.9 with a good pop here above these resistance levels. But at the moment, it's just not great on the actual activity. And then last one, MDC. So MDC, also no activity. So with that said, we'll look at one more, JCI. And then we'll call it a day here on looking for more stocks. So JCI, yeah, again, just not a lot of activity here. Again, it's up 2.3. But again, just not a lot of activity on the actual pre-market at this moment. Someone asked the questions block trade. So a block trade is, what was that stock that had the block trade? Gevo? No. I know there was one here.
Was it SF? It was, yeah, it was.
Yeah. You got
on that list there.
Yep.
There it is right there.
SSRM. So someone asked the question. This is very important. So usually when you have this type of trade, in this one candle here, this is a 5 minute. If you look at the 1 minute, it's going to be the same thing. In this one transaction here, you had someone drop in a transaction of 189,000 shares traded, right? So you had actually more, 379, right? So you had two huge.
It's the exact, that those two trades are all the volume for the entire morning.
Right. So
and it's an exchange between two people that aren't on the market, but it gets recorded. So it's really, it looks like there's a ton of action, but literally not a single trade has been made on that stock today.
Yep. So what that's going to cost is going to cost for it to show up in our top list here because just the sheer activity of it, but not really creating any type of movement for us to trade, right? So you have a stock with less volume, Spot, right? Only 194,000 shares traded. That's actually being traded by traders. You can see this here. You can see the movement a lot less, almost half of what we saw earlier, which is creating a good pre-market activity that we want to trade. All right, guys, so let's get into this list. Coming up on 906, so we have TWOU. So TWOU is gapping down nicely here on the daily. I do like the pre-market activity, so we're definitely going to watch this. High of the pre-market, low of the pre-market, 21.55. Not sure how long that's going to hold. High of the pre-market sitting all the way up at 26.98, almost 27. And now we're going to go back. We have a nice big gap here. If we look at the daily, which is the low of the last last two trading days, there it goes, cracking at 21.55. So we'll adjust that pre-market low in a second. Let's go back and see, do we have something below this 21.50 or are we at all-time low? I just want to go back here and check. All right, so here we go. We got some action happening around 2016, which is the last time we've been around this area. Price action sitting right on a support line right now, which is exactly where we have our low of the pre-market. So we'll keep that on there. And then here we have another level down at 2019 or so. Down here we have another, actually this is a good one too here. This one here at 19. Below that, you have clearly this one here, which is going to mark down from this date, 1723, and all the way down here. I don't think we'll get here, but I'm just going to mark it down because I don't want to come back here if in case this thing decides to really dump. Towards the top, remember, we had a big gap towards the top, right? So we have to actually come back here anyways to get a level towards the top. The next level we have right now, which is the low before this thing dropped, was 26.86. So we want to find something in here in case we get a bounce. Let's look at what we have in this area. This one seems to be a clear area of support and resistance. I'll show you why. This 23.79, you got several days in this area using that as resistance. Once we can break that resistance, look at the nice beautiful pop all the way to 26.86. Between 26.86 and 23.79, you also have 25.68, right? Clear level of resistance. It breaks out of this one, then breaks out of that one, finds a resistance here, comes right back down to 23.79, and then loses it, holds its moving average before it tests this 24.52 level we have here. So plenty of levels going back quite a bit here, but that's been a while since we've been at this price range. So look out for the whole dollars, 22, 22.50, 23. These are also going to play an important part in this stock today. So you can see here we just lost 21.53. I'm going to keep it on here just in case we come back above this, but the new low is going to be made once this thing settles in. Look at the volume, guys. Again, we're getting the nice little ramp here. Hopefully it can continue like this throughout the open, and that's going to give us a nice smooth pre-market activity, which is what we like to look for. All right, here's the daily, here's the 5. All right, so AMD is dropping nice. I think the levels we have so far are okay. We just got to add some more towards the bottom. So towards the top, we have plenty. We have this 32.45, which I'm going to keep here. This is the support that we had a couple of days ago here. You can see we just broke through that, so I'm going to keep that on there. Then towards the bottom, I am going to mark down this day here, which is very close to where the price action is. This is 32.15 based on this day here and this one here. And if we lose that, we have the low of the pre-market, which is good to mark as well, 31.89. And then below that, see, a good level below that will be this one here. Yeah, I like this level on here. I'll show you why in a second. 31.33. So we have a moving average right near 31, which is nice, but we also have several days using it as support and resistance right on here, right? So the very clean days on this 31.33. So hopefully we can, find an opportunity on AMD. Again, great volume right now, guys. Almost 3 million shares traded. Just look at this beautiful. I'm changing the chart again. I want to keep this on the daily and you do it up here. So again, just a beautiful flow here, nice pre-market action with some good volume and a very nice daily chart. You can see here kind of double top on the daily breaking down, but obviously they have some news today. SPOT, the pre-market activity out of the other ones we've seen, not the greatest right now. Seems pretty flat, not much volume, 196. I would expect it by now that it will be more, but let's keep in mind this is a nicey stock, so volume tends to be a little lighter than usual. Low of the pre-market sitting at 147.23. You can see how that low of the pre-market, you can see areas of support and resistance when you draw that line right through that. Below this, a very clean level all the way down here, 143.89. And then just one more towards the bottom, just in case we have this one right over here around 140.84. Towards the top, don't need to really add anymore. You got plenty of highs and lows from the last 2 trading days with all this consolidation happening here, plus a very important level, your previous day close. So down 4%. And as you can see here, the pre-market activity looks, actually it's okay. It's not bad. It's a nicey stock. The pre-market activity is not the best, but at the open, we can definitely get some movement out of this here. As we mentioned earlier, look out for the spreads looking good right now. But again, at the open, if you take these two guys out, the spread's a lot more. Almost a couple of 50-60 cents here, so be careful before you trade this one. Look at the spread, make sure is it reasonable, and not something completely unreasonable that's off the wall. You don't want to be down $400, $300 when you enter a trade, right? It's just not realistic. All right, so here we have AMRN is ninth high of the pre-market at 20.01. Right, you can see that area has been resisted for some time here, as well as in here, also even in here before it took off. Towards the bottom, we have some moving averages right on the price action. So I'm going to mark these moving averages because I think they're the way this is trading, it could be important. So we have one here at 1943. I'm going to mark that down. And then towards the bottom, you have another moving average very close to the low of the pre-market. So I'm just going to mark the low of the pre-market at 1870. Then towards the bottom, below 1870, the low of the pre-market, you have plenty of levels because we've been consolidating, just not trading very clean in this area. So you have your highs and lows, previous day close, all in this area between 18 and 1850. This might be one that I drop because again, it just doesn't trade very clean. So a few times we watched this, hasn't been very clean. You can see here a lot of the volume sitting on here, and the pre-market activity is so. I think you're going to get the volume out of this one at the open. But I think I'd rather watch some other ones that are looking a lot better this morning. Apple is definitely in play, guys. You can see here on the daily popping up quite a bit. High of the pre-market sitting at 218.30. Low of the pre-market sitting at 216.40. So we're going to mark that down. Then we have a nice drop here, nice gap on the daily. Let's go back and see what we can find towards the bottom. So towards the bottom, before we took off like this, we have a clean level here at 214, and then one also at 215.38, worth marking down because you had a very nice rejection here heading towards the bottom. So that plenty levels towards the bottom. Towards the top, if we can get a nice bounce, which we're seeing kind of right now here of that 216 low of the pre-market, if we can get going, Apple's actually been getting some good news, so that's good. If we can get going, the daily chart here is not great. See this daily? Very choppy. So when you see that, it's very difficult to find levels. From here to here is nasty, and then look how clean it is from here to here. This is a very clean daily chart. So we're going to use this part here to help us out find a level above. Obviously, this level all the way up here is a nice one. I don't think we're going to get there. 233.12. Towards the bottom, you have another level right in here around 227.09. You can see clear levels of support and resistance. And then in here, right in this area here, yep, this is 22.70. Reason I like this level, you can see the resistance there, then support, then resistance, and then you have resistance before we break out, and also again support, then resistance. Okay, so 222.69, definitely a nice area there. Hopefully we can break out as 218 and possibly head towards that level. I don't think we'll get to 233, but we're ready in case this thing wants to take off nicely. ENPH volume is picking up nicely here. On the daily, we have low of the pre-market sitting at 24.35, high of the pre-market sitting at 26.80. So we'll mark those two. Pre-market activity looking decent, very nice. Here we have a nice beautiful pop. We are all-time high here. I believe it looks the way this chart is setting up. It looks like it. Yes, we are. So we are at all-time high, and there's no other levels in here, down here neither, right? So there's nothing else here besides what we have here from yesterday and the last couple of days. So this area here. So in a situation like this, guys, I'm gonna mark down. You want to look out for the whole dollar marks like a 22.50. You want to look out for that. You want to look out for 23, right? That's going to be important as well. So when you're trading, look out for those areas, 23.50, 23. Those whole dollar numbers are going to be important. 25, it might also play an important part. on there, so mark that down as well. Again, not a lot of levels for you to go to on this one today. Last one on this list, GE. So GE again, how many I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. GE is one of those stocks that doesn't move much. Again, great volume, but not a lot of movement. We'll get some levels in here in case we get something crazy blowing up in our scanners about GE, but the movements are just very, very small. High of the pre-market 11.17. The next level below the price action 10.71 has been resistance over the last couple of days. You can see 3 times here try to break out of that and was not able to. Then towards the bottom you got plenty of levels, highs and lows, moving averages, all in this area. It's just jam-packed with a lot of support. Hopefully this thing can take off. If we can get back to this 11.17, we had a day here when it went up all the way to 11.74. So that could be a possible area, but look out for this 11.50, 11.25. Again, I know they're very close to the price range, to the price action, but that's how GE works. It doesn't give you a lot of movement, but pre-market activity looks great. As you can see here, has a nice movement on the pre-market activity, getting pretty flat in this area here, but this is good for the type of stock this is. So NVIDIA we have as a possible. Garmin we have as a possible as well. Let's do some levels for Garmin. This is one I'll keep here just in case we can get something going. High of the pre-market 82.14. Towards the bottom we have 81.13. This could be a possible level. We have this nice pop here all the way at 82.73. So plenty of levels towards the bottom. Again, guys, not going to watch this one because just the volume is not there, right? Look at the pre-market activity right now. It's just not there. But this could be a possible if we can get going and if it hits our turbo breakup, turbo breakdown. EA, another possible, guys. So we have high of the pre-market sitting at 94.79. These guys reported today, as Norm mentioned earlier, and then low of the pre-market at 92.55. So we'll wait for this one to hit our scanners, and we have traded this one in the past. When it is active, we can get some great moves out of this, so be on the lookout. Towards the top, let's just do one more level. We have 97. I know that's a far stretch, so we're gonna probably want to also mark down this one here at 96.27. And then one more towards the bottom, just in case we get a drop here. This 90.79, good area of possible support. You can see several days holding that 90.86 pretty tight. So we have some levels here towards the top and bottom. All right, guys, so that is what we have. Andrew's list: AMD, MU, TWOU, AMRN, Apple, and ENPA. So Andrew just posted his list. Brian will be posting his next, and so will Norm. So we got a pretty decent list today, guys. I think this is going to be a good open. Look at TWOU, how it's just lost the pre-market 21.53, heading right down to this 20.19, and the volume is just beautiful, guys. There's a great activity happening here. So out of all of them, this has the best pre-market activity, I think, so far. So looking forward to see how this is going to open up. Norm, anything else we might have missed before we shut down YouTube?
No, that's. I think we've got a pretty good list through what we've gone through. I'll just thank everybody on YouTube for joining us. Trade safe, and remind that there's a promo code premarket24, no spaces or anything. Premarket24, if you want to try out the chat room where we trade live all day for a discount. So, thank you guys.
All right, take care, guys.
Thank
Trade
you, guys.
safe.
Just one thing, guys. Maybe you can announce the FinTech Award for YouTube. We were nominated for the best trading education community. So if people vote for us, that would be nice.
Yes.
Yeah, we did announce it a little bit earlier and put the link up, but we can do it again. It's awesome. We were nominated for Benzinga's FinTech Awards, their best financial literacy tool. So, Adil, if you could throw the link up one more time, we would love to have your vote.
Yeah, yes, guys. If you guys are on YouTube, if you're not a member, if you learn something from us, go vote your honest opinion. We always appreciate an honest opinion. If you don't believe you deserve it, that's fine. Just don't vote it for us. Thank you very much, guys. Yes.